My friend, listen closely. There comes a moment in life when heaven itself whispers, stop searching, stop running, stop worrying. I have a bigger plan for you. A job is something that comes into your life for a season, a moment, or a particular phase of your journey, but it is never meant to define your entire existence. Jobs can change, shift, end, or evolve. Companies rise and fall, positions open and close, and opportunities appear and disappear with time. A job depends on circumstances, on human decisions, on systems that are influenced by economy, demand, and trends. That's why jobs are temporary. They can never offer complete stability, identity, or direction. They are tools, not destiny. But God's calling is different. God's calling is not tied to a company, a position, or a monthly salary. It is rooted in who you are, who God created you to be, and what He designed you to accomplish on this earth. God's calling follows you into every stage of life. It remains constant even when everything else around you changes. You can lose a job, but you can never lose your calling. The calling is woven into your gifts, your purpose, your passion, your vision, and your spiritual assignment. It is eternal because it originates from God, not from people. When you begin to understand that jobs are temporary, you stop feeling defeated when something ends. You stop panicking when a door closes. You stop thinking your life is over because a salary stopped. Instead, you realize that God may simply be transitioning you to something deeper, higher, or more aligned with your true purpose. A job may sustain you for a moment, but your calling will guide you for a lifetime. When you focus on God's calling, you rise above fear, above limitations, and above temporary setbacks. You begin to live with confidence, knowing that your future is anchored not in human systems, but in divine design. Many people spend their lives chasing positions, titles, or roles because they believe that a job will give them identity, stability, or purpose. But the truth is, human positions are limited, changing, and often shaped by what others expect from you. When you chase a job, you are often chasing approval, trying to fit into a system that was created by people, not designed for your destiny. Searching for positions can make you feel like you are constantly trying to prove yourself, constantly adjusting who you are just to be accepted. It keeps you focused on what is visible rather than what is meaningful. But when you turn your attention toward God's purpose, everything changes. God's purpose for your life is not confined to a job description or an office environment. His purpose is much larger, deeper, and more connected to who you truly are. Purpose flows from your gifts, your passions, your spiritual calling, and the unique assignment God has placed in your heart. When you focus on God's purpose, you stop worrying about whether a company wants you, and you start discovering what God wants from you. Instead of chasing a position, you begin to grow into the person you were created to be. Chasing God's purpose frees you from fear, comparison, and pressure. It lifts your eyes from temporary opportunities to eternal direction. When you seek His purpose first, He aligns the right doors, the right people, the right timing, and the right opportunities without you forcing anything. You begin to understand that you were not born just to fill a position. You were born to fulfill a mission. A job may place you somewhere temporarily, but God's purpose positions you permanently in His plan. When you choose purpose over position, you step into a life of meaning, clarity, and divine direction. Many people measure their worth based on what job they have, how much they earn, or what title is written next to their name. Society teaches us that if we have a high position, we are important. And if we don't, we lack value. But this is a lie that keeps countless people feeling small, insecure, and unworthy. Your value was never meant to be defined by a salary, a label, or a company's recognition. These things can change overnight. Titles can be removed, positions can be replaced, and salaries can rise or fall. None of these things determine who you truly are. Your real value comes from the way God created you, the gifts inside you, the potential you carry, the character you have, and the purpose placed within your spirit. You are valuable because you are uniquely designed, not because you are employed in a certain role. A job can describe what you do, but it can never define who you are. When you understand this truth, you stop feeling inferior when others seem to be ahead of you. You stop comparing your life to someone else's career. You stop letting rejection or failure make you doubt your worth. Your identity is rooted in something much deeper, something unshakable. Even if you lose a job, you do not lose your value. Even if someone doesn't hire you, it does not mean you are not capable, gifted, or chosen. God sees the treasure inside you that no employer has the power to measure. When you embrace your God-given identity, you walk with confidence. You start applying for opportunities without fear. You start dreaming without limitation. You begin to realize that your worth comes from your Creator, not from a company, not from a position, and not from a paycheck. And once you truly know your value, you stop chasing approval and start living with purpose. We often become impatient when life doesn't move according to our plans. We expect things to happen quickly, jobs to arrive on time, opportunities to open instantly, and every step of our journey to unfold exactly the way we imagine. But God's timing operates on a completely different level. His timing is perfect because He sees what you cannot see. He understands the future you are walking into, the lessons you need to learn, the growth you must experience, and the people you must meet along the way. What feels like a delay to you may actually be divine preparation. Sometimes God slows things down to protect you from stepping into something you're not ready for. Other times He holds back a door because He has a better one prepared. When you trust His timing, you begin to recognize that waiting is not punishment, it's positioning. God uses waiting seasons to strengthen your character, increase your faith, sharpen your vision, and shape you into someone who can handle the blessing He's preparing. If the opportunity came too early, you might mishandle it. If it came too easily, you might underestimate it. If it came without preparation, you might not sustain it. God's timing is better than your planning, because human plans are limited by fear, pressure, and understanding. But God's plans are shaped by love, wisdom, and infinite perspective. When you surrender your timeline to Him, you release stress and pick up peace. You stop forcing doors open and start trusting the doors God will open at the right moment. You stop rushing and start aligning. You stop worrying and start believing. And when the right time finally arrives, you will realize why every delay was necessary. What God brings into your life at the right time will be far greater, stronger, and more fulfilling than anything you tried to create on your own. Many times, when a door closes, we immediately feel discouraged. We assume something went wrong, that we weren't good enough, or that God has forgotten us. But what we often fail to realize is that closed doors can be one of God's greatest gifts. Not every opportunity is meant to be pursued. Not every path is meant to be walked. And not every yes is aligned with your destiny. When God closes a door, He isn't rejecting you. He's protecting you. There are situations that look good from the outside but would damage your peace, drain your spirit, or limit your potential once you step inside. There are jobs that promise stability but would keep you small. There are environments that offer money but steal your purpose. God sees the hidden dangers you cannot see. He sees the conversations you're not present for, the intentions of people you don't know, and the future outcomes you cannot predict. So sometimes He shuts a door to save you from a future that would have harmed you. Closed doors also redirect you towards something better. When one path ends, it turns your feet toward the path God designed for your growth, expansion, and spiritual maturity. What feels like a loss is often a divine redirection. If every door remained open, we would walk into places beneath our calling or settle for less than God's best. Closed doors also build your faith. They teach you to trust God beyond your feelings, beyond your disappointments, and beyond your understanding. They remind you that you're not navigating life alone. He is guiding every step, and when you finally reach the door God intended for you, you will understand why the others had to close. His protection is not rejection. His no is often a setup for a greater yes. Many people believe they were born just to work, earn, survive, and repeat the same cycle. But deep inside every person, there is a longing for something greater, something meaningful, something impactful. That longing is not accidental. It is a sign that you were created for more than routine employment. A job can sustain your life, but it cannot define your purpose. You were designed by God with gifts, passions, ideas, and a spiritual assignment that goes far beyond the boundaries of a job title. When you begin to understand this, everything shifts. You stop viewing yourself as someone who needs to fit into the expectations of others, and you start seeing yourself as someone God equipped for a unique mission. You were not made to simply clock in and clock out. You were made to bring change, to inspire, to influence, to serve, to create, and to carry out a divine purpose that impacts people's lives. Jobs are temporary, but the purpose God placed inside you is eternal. Being created for impact means you have something to offer that no one else can replicate. Your voice, your story, your abilities, and your experiences form a combination that exists only in you. That is why you sometimes feel restless in places that don't align with your calling. That is why certain jobs, roles, or environments feel too small for your spirit. It's because your soul knows you were meant for something deeper. The world may try to limit you to roles and expectations, but God calls you to rise beyond them. When you embrace this truth, fear loses its power. You stop settling for survival and start pursuing significance. You stop asking, what job can I get? And start asking, what impact was I created to make? And once you shift from employment to purpose, you step into a life of fulfillment, direction, and God-given influence. Faith has the power to open doors that human effort alone could never reach. Many people rely only on hard work, connections, or qualifications to move forward in life. While effort is important, it has limits. Human strength can only take you so far. But when faith enters the picture, the impossible becomes possible. Faith connects you to a higher dimension of provision, favor, and opportunity, one that is not controlled by people, systems, or circumstances. Faith is not just believing, it is trusting God even when you cannot see the path ahead. It is choosing to walk forward, even when every logical reason tells you to stop. Faith unlocks divine intervention. It positions you for blessings you didn't apply for, breakthroughs you didn't expect, and opportunities you didn't even know existed. Where human effort ends, God's supernatural ability begins. Faith invites God into situations where your strength is no longer enough. Many people limit themselves because they rely only on what they can see, calculate, or control. But when you rely on faith, you tap into God's unlimited resources. Faith moves mountains, breaks chains, and opens doors that no interview, no qualification, and no connection could ever open. It aligns you with God's timing, God's favor, and God's purpose. Faith also strengthens you when life becomes uncertain. It keeps you steady in seasons of waiting, rejection, or transition. When you walk by sight, you get discouraged easily. But when you walk by faith, you see beyond the present moment and into the promises God has spoken over your life. Faith lifts your eyes from fear to possibility, from lack to provision, from insecurity to confidence. When you choose faith, you choose a life where God leads and you follow. You stop depending solely on your abilities and start depending on His power. And when God moves on your behalf, no one can stop what He has prepared for you. There are moments in life when your own strength, resources, and abilities come to an end. You do everything you can, yet doors remain closed. Opportunities don't appear, and progress seems slow. It's in these moments that many people feel frustrated or defeated. But what they often don't realize is that these places of limitation are actually the starting point of God's supernatural provision. When your resources end, God's resources begin. When your plans fall short, His divine plan starts unfolding. God often allows you to reach the end of yourself so you can discover the beginning of His power. As long as you rely only on your own abilities, you will remain confined to natural results. But when you surrender your lack, your fear, and your limitations to God, you open the door for Him to work in ways you could never imagine. God specializes in taking small things and multiplying them. He takes empty hands and fills them. He takes broken situations and turns them into testimonies. Running out of resources is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It is a sign that He's about to reveal Himself to you in a deeper way. When your strength is gone, He becomes your strength. When your plans fail, His purpose rises. When your account is empty, heaven's supply becomes visible. God does not need much to do great things. He just needs your trust. This is why some of your greatest breakthroughs happen in the moments when you feel weakest or most hopeless. Your lack creates space for God to show His abundance. Your emptiness becomes the room where His miracles take shape. When you stop depending on what you have and start depending on who He is, you experience provision, favor, and open doors that human effort alone could never produce. God's provision is activated not by your resources, but by your faith. Every person carries something inside them that is far more powerful than any job, title, or qualification. That something is your gift. Your gift is the unique ability God placed within you. Your talent, your creativity, your perspective, your passion, your voice, your skill, your spiritual strength. It is something that flows naturally from you. Something that feels effortless, yet impactful. This gift is not accidental. It is intentionally designed to connect you to your purpose and guide you into your destiny. Many people ignore their gift because they believe success only comes from traditional jobs or predictable paths. They keep trying to fit into systems that were never built for their uniqueness. But the truth is, your gift is the key that unlocks your future. Jobs may open and close, opportunities may rise and fall, but your gift remains constant. It is the one thing no one can take from you. It goes with you wherever you go, and it grows wherever you nurture it. Your gift is also the language God uses to lead you. It creates opportunities that align with your purpose. When you use your gift, you feel alive, fulfilled, and connected to something greater. When you neglect it, you feel drained, misplaced, and unfulfilled. No matter how good the job looks on the outside, that inner restlessness you sometimes feel is not confusion. It is your gift calling you to step into your real assignment. God often blesses people not through positions, but through their gifts. A gift can open doors you never applied for. A gift can attract people, resources, and opportunities that qualifications alone cannot. When you focus on developing your gift, you step into a life of purpose, direction, and divine alignment. Your gift is your key. Your future is already inside you, waiting to be activated, expressed, and used for God's greater plan. There is a reason God places visions inside people rather than handing out job vacancies. Jobs are created by human systems, but visions come directly from the heart of God. A job tells you what to do, but a vision shows you who you can become. A job may give temporary stability, but a vision gives lifelong direction. When God plants a vision in your spirit, it is not just an idea. It is a divine blueprint for your future. It is God's way of pulling you out of limitation and guiding you into a life of purpose, influence, and impact. A vision is always bigger than your current situation. It stretches you, challenges you, and forces you to grow beyond your comfort zone. That is because God does not want you to stay small. He wants you to rise higher. A job can keep you busy, but a vision keeps you alive. It fuels your passion, shapes your decisions, and gives meaning to your struggles. You may lose a job, but you cannot lose a God-given vision. It lives inside you, speaks to you, and reminds you that you were created for something extraordinary. Many people limit themselves because they look for openings in the world instead of opening their hearts to God's voice. They wait for someone to hire them when God is trying to inspire them. They search for opportunity outside while God is placing creativity, ideas, and dreams inside. The world may offer positions, but God offers purpose, and purpose always outlasts position. A vision also aligns you with God's timing. It prepares you for opportunities that haven't appeared yet. It builds you for places you haven't reached. It transforms your mindset so you can handle the blessings coming your way. When God plants a vision, He is not giving you something small. He is giving you a glimpse of His plan for your life. That vision is the seed of your destiny. And if you protect it, nurture it, and believe in it, it will open doors no human system could ever provide. Many people live in constant fear of not having enough. Fear of losing a job, fear of financial instability, fear of an uncertain future. But this fear comes from a misunderstanding of where true provision comes from. A salary may support you for a moment, but it is not your ultimate source. A company may offer you income, but it does not control your destiny. When you understand that God is your true provider, fear begins to lose its grip on your life. God's provision is not limited by the economy, by job markets, or by human decisions. He has 1,000 ways to bless you, even when you only see one. When people close their hands, God can open His. When resources disappear, He can create new ones. When opportunities dry up, He can make a way where there is no way. Trusting God as your source doesn't mean ignoring responsibility. It means refusing to let fear dictate your future. It means believing that your life is not governed by human systems, but by divine supply. When you trust God, you stop panicking over what you cannot control. You stop feeling threatened by uncertainty. You begin to walk with confidence because you know that your future is held by the one who owns everything. God has provided for people in deserts, in storms, in prisons, and in impossible situations throughout history. He is fully capable of providing for you right now. Fear is natural, but faith is powerful. When you shift your focus from lack to the limitless nature of God, your mindset changes. You begin to see possibilities where others see impossibilities. You begin to expect breakthroughs instead of setbacks. And even in seasons where you don't see immediate results, you can rest knowing that God is working behind the scenes. You don't have to fear lack because the one who created the universe is your provider. His supply never runs out and His care for you never fails. What God prepares for you cannot be stopped, blocked, or taken by anyone. Human systems may overlook you. People may underestimate you, and circumstances may seem against you, but none of that can interfere with God's plan. When He designs something for your life, it is tailored specifically for you. Your gifts, your growth, your future, no competition, no rejection, and no delay can cancel what He has ordained. Even if others rise before you or doors seem closed, God's timing will align everything perfectly. What is meant for you will reach you because divine purpose is stronger than human limitation. A job can help you survive, pay your bills, and meet your daily needs, but it cannot give you true fulfillment. It provides income, but not identity. It offers routine, but not destiny. God's plan, however, gives you a life filled with meaning, direction, and purpose. His plan shapes who you become, not just what you do. When you follow God's calling, you step into joy, peace, and clarity that no salary can buy. A job supports your existence, but God's purpose transforms your existence. One helps you live. His plan teaches you why you live. Many people live day to day just trying to get through the week, pay bills, and manage responsibilities. This survival mindset keeps you small, tired, and focused only on the immediate. But God calls you to rise higher into kingdom purpose, a life where you live with intention, vision, and spiritual confidence. Kingdom purpose lifts you from fear-driven decisions into faith-driven steps. It shifts your focus from how will I make it to what am I called to do. When you step into kingdom purpose, you stop reacting to life and start leading your life with God's direction, passion, and strength. Sometimes life pushes you out of comfort so God can pull you into something greater. What looks like uncertainty is often divine repositioning. God is not preparing something ordinary. He is preparing something bigger, better, and beyond anything you imagined. When things shift, don't panic. God may be aligning you with new opportunities, new relationships, and new levels of purpose. You're not losing direction, you're being redirected. When God rearranges your path, it is always for elevation. The future He has for you isn't small, it is abundant, impactful, and filled with His favor. Your best season is being prepared right now. Your identity was never meant to be defined by your job, your title, or your achievements. These things are temporary and can change at any moment. If your identity rests on them, then every rejection, every loss, and every failure will shake your confidence. But when your identity is rooted in God's purpose, you stand on a foundation that cannot be moved. God's purpose speaks to who you truly are, your gifts, your calling, your character, and your spiritual assignment. It is something eternal, unchanging, and deeply connected to the way God designed you. When you understand that your identity comes from God, you no longer feel threatened by what others achieve, nor do you feel insecure when life shifts. You begin to live with confidence because you know you are more than your job. You are chosen, called, and uniquely equipped by God. Jobs may come and go, but purpose remains. Positions may change, but identity stays the same. When you embrace this truth, you stop chasing approval and start walking boldly in who God made you to be. Your setbacks are not signs of failure. They are strategic moments God uses to prepare you for something greater. Every disappointment, delay, or closed door can position you for a breakthrough you couldn't achieve on your own. Setbacks push you to grow, to rely on God, and to step into levels of strength and wisdom you never knew you had. God often uses these hard moments as turning points that lead to powerful new beginnings. Before God elevates you to a higher position or greater responsibility, He equips you with the strength, wisdom, and character you need. You may not see the preparation happening, but every challenge, lesson, and season of growth is shaping you for what's ahead. God never sends you unprepared. He builds you privately before He blesses you publicly. Obedience carries a power that skill and talent alone can never achieve. When you follow God's voice, whether it makes sense or not, you position yourself for supernatural opportunities. Obedience aligns you with divine timing, divine protection, and divine favor. It opens doors that qualifications cannot and leads you into places your effort alone could not reach. A waiting season often feels frustrating, but it is one of God's greatest training grounds. During waiting, He strengthens your faith, builds your character, clarifies your vision, and prepares your spirit for what's coming. Waiting is not wasted, it is shaping. When the right time arrives, you step into your winning season, fully prepared, strengthened, and aligned. Fear is one of the greatest barriers between you and the future God has designed for your life. Fear keeps you attached to what is familiar, even when the familiar no longer serves your growth. Fear causes hesitation, doubt, and insecurity, preventing you from stepping into the opportunities God places before you. Many people miss divine moments because they allow old fears to control their decisions. You cannot move into new seasons with the same mindset that held you back in previous ones. God's future for you requires boldness, trust, and a willingness to step beyond your comfort zone. Old fears come from past failures, past disappointments, or past limitations. They whisper that you are not capable, not ready, or not worthy. But God does not speak through fear. He speaks through faith. To step into the future He planned, you must let go of the fears that keep you tied to your past. This means releasing the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of lack, and the fear of the unknown. Fear looks at your weakness. Faith looks at God's strength. When you let go of fear, you free your spirit to receive new instructions, new opportunities, and new blessings. You begin to move with confidence, not because everything is clear, but because you trust the one who leads you. Fear cannot exist where faith stands strong. God's future for you is bigger than your fears, brighter than your doubts, and stronger than your past. To walk into it, you must step forward with courage, letting faith guide you into the life He prepared. A life of purpose, impact, and divine direction. When God leads you into a new season, He doesn't always give you the full picture, but He always gives you the first step. Many people wait for all the details before they move, but God rarely works that way. He invites you to trust Him one step at a time. When you take that first step, even if you feel unsure, you activate a spiritual principle. Movement attracts guidance. As you move forward in faith, the next step becomes visible. What once felt confusing starts to make sense. The pieces begin to align. God's plan unfolds gradually, not suddenly, because He wants you to depend on Him, not on your own understanding. You don't need everything figured out to begin. You don't need complete confidence, just willingness. God honors courage more than certainty. He uses ordinary steps to produce extraordinary outcomes. Once you choose to walk forward, instead of staying stuck, you position yourself for doors to open, opportunities to appear, and divine favor to flow. Sometimes, the fear of making a wrong move keeps people paralyzed, but God is not limited by your mistakes. Even if you step in the wrong direction, He knows how to redirect you. What matters is that you don't remain frozen in doubt. You trust Him enough to move, even when you don't understand everything. The breakthrough you pray for often waits on the step you refuse to take. Change can feel uncomfortable, unpredictable, and sometimes even frightening. Many people cling to familiar routines, secure environments, and predictable patterns because they believe safety lies in what they already know. But staying in the same place out of fear often prevents you from entering the place God has prepared for you. Breakthrough doesn't come from holding on tightly to what is familiar. It comes from trusting God enough to move when He leads, even if the path is unfamiliar. God often guides His people through seasons of transition. These transitions might look like closed doors, new challenges, unexpected shifts, or opportunities that require courage. If you fear change, you may resist these moments, missing the very steps that lead to your breakthrough. But when you shift your perspective and begin to trust that every change God allows has purpose, you unlock a new level of freedom. Embracing God's direction means believing that He sees what you can't see. It means trusting that His plan is not to harm you, but to elevate you. It means understanding that growth requires movement and that destiny requires obedience. When you stop fearing change, you stop limiting God. You allow Him to take you from comfort to calling, from survival to expansion, from where you are to where you are meant to be. Your breakthrough doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It waits for your willingness. The moment you release fear, surrender your own plans, and say yes to God's leading, you step into a new season. And that step becomes the beginning of the breakthrough you've been praying for.